Hey friends, welcome to episode 12 of I Am Beauty and the Beast. Today's episode is about my guest, Shelby. She's a Jujitsu badass. She's humble, she's a leader, and someone who's built a beautifully blended family with grace and grit. And in part one of our conversation, Shelby shares what it was like growing up in a small Texas town, meeting her husband Thomas in college, and stepping into the role of raising his two young daughters as her own. We talk about early relationship, the challenges of blending a family, financial stress, and what it really means to stay grounded and keep showing up even when life is really messy with cockroaches and possums involved. Shelby's story reminds us that strength doesn't always have to be loud, and love isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. And my hope is that you'll feel inspired by Shelby's journey. And this episode is for anyone who's navigating big transitions, wondering if they're doing enough, or trying to build something meaningful while staying true to who you really are. So let's get into it. Let's get into part one of my interview with Shelby. Hey Shelby, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for being here, taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with me. And this has definitely been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah.
I've talked to you about doing this from that first time where I had you come over to my studio and I did photos of you and your girls, and you
Mm-hmm.
still had
Mm-hmm.
your white belt at the time. And I was like, I want to interview you. And
Yeah.
then, life gets busy or whatever, but here we are.
Yeah, that's it. That was a little bit ago, but I've always been excited whenever the time was right to come on the podcast. I'm really excited because I'm a longtime listener, first time speaker on here, so really
Yeah.
excited about it. Yeah.
I'm super super stoked to have you, because for those of the people that might not know, Shelby, you and I met through jujitsu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Because I've been doing it
Probably
for a
closer to
while.
three,
Yeah, I think
three
it's been
now.
about three
Mm-hmm.
years. One of the earliest memories I have of you is when I think Thomas checked in for you for jujitsu. And I was like, that's so cute. Thomas is your husband, right?
Yes.
So I saw that. I was like, that's so cute. I want that. I want somebody who checks me in on the mats when we step on the mats. Like, I got you. I got you. That was one of my earliest memories of you two. But anyway, so the reason I wanted to have you here is because not only are you a total badass in jujitsu, and you'll just have to let me compliment you and just deal
I'm
with
gonna have to
it.
take it.
You're just gonna
Yeah.
have to take it.
Okay, okay. If
But
you
not,
must.
yes, I must. I must. The credit where credit is due. But not only are you a total badass at jujitsu, like you are so fierce as a competitor, but you've got this side of you that's like so incredibly humble and sweet. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but that's why I wanted to talk to you is like this show is called I Am Beauty and the Beast. And I feel like you embody that so well because you are beautiful, you are sweet, you are caring, you're thoughtful, and you're feminine, but you're also a badass. Like you can submit like nobody's business. So I'm like, I need to, like I think people would benefit from hearing from you and like your experience.
Yeah, so fun fact, Thomas still checks me into jujitsu class
I
because
love it.
I walk straight in and I get my stuff together and get on the mat, and I always forget to check myself in if I'm by myself for whatever reason. I will forget to check myself in, and I will like remember like midway through class that I did not check in, and will say or like remind myself, got to do that after class. And then I'll just walk right out and have forgotten so I just wasn't there that day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, he still checks me in, and it's
That's
great.
awesome.
I'm really thankful that he keeps track of that for me because yeah, I would never like remember to check myself in. Anyway, yeah, so my name is Shelby Strawn. I am 32 years old, and I am originally from Texarkana, which is a dual city. So there's an Arkansas side and a Texas side, which if you're from around there, that's a pretty big deal because it's like Arkansas versus Texas all the time.
Yeah.
But I was born on the Texas side, raised on the Arkansas side, which again is kind of a big deal if you know, like if you know, you're from
Okay.
there, you understand that that's kind of like a thing. Anyway,
Okay.
so I majored in biology, really enjoyed that as an undergrad. And that is actually whenever I was getting into like the upper level biology classes, I was in the honors program, and I also switched to teaching. So I was majoring in biology and minoring in teaching education so that I could be a high school biology teacher. At that point, I was uh, out of a long term relationship that I had been in since I was 17. 17, once I graduated high school, moved in together in Texarkana, and we were together until I was 20. So, pretty formidable sort of growth time period there.
Mhm.
But so yeah, we broke up. I was living on my own in my own apartment by myself at 20. Um, and I'd had 1 year left of my university classes and was going to get my teaching certificate and all of that good stuff. So about a year or so in, I met Thomas, and I met Thomas because we both took an invertebrate zoology class, which, if you know what invertebrates are, they
Yeah.
are the things without spines. So anyway, met there, and I sat in the very front row because that's the kind of nerd I am, and wanted to already just kind of get a jump on it because this class hit. Our professor's name was Dr. Allard. He was my advisor and just the best teacher ever in the world. He loved that class, and that was like where he put like it was the most difficult class. He put all of his
Yeah.
energy into challenging us in that class. I sat in the very front row, and this guy walks in. At this point, if you have a picture, like you can probably post a picture of Thomas now versus Thomas then. This guy had short, spiky hair. He wore glasses, and he was like a polo shirt wearer. But if you know him now, you will know that he is really long hair,
Yeah.
very down to earth, style, like not at all what he did look like before.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear glasses anymore or anything, and he's got a full beard.
Mhm.
Before then, he did not have a beard at all. Like it was just this. He's a total juxtaposition of what he used to be. He immediately makes eye contact with me, I remember, and sits right next to me, where there's tons of seats available because
Yeah.
I'm there early because I want to get a jump on this class. I knew that it was going to be a hard class. So he sits right next to me on my left. This is a lab station sort of setup, and
Mhm.
I look over, see that this guy's already got the book, and I'm like, he's already got the book for this class. And so I ask him, I'm like, oh, okay, is that the book for invertebrate zoology? But our professor, like, he took apart this other book and like made it his own textbook. So I started talking to him about this textbook, and I'm like, "Oh, can I see the what the book looks like?" And so I just grabbed his book and I'm starting to
Okay.
look through it. And he's like, "Well, yeah, here you go." And I'm like, "Well, it doesn't have any color. What kind of you know, invertebrate zoology book doesn't have any color?" And he's like, well, I don't know. Like maybe you maybe we don't need the color. Like maybe you just need the pictures of the organisms like as they are. Maybe he's not going to require us to know colors and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this textbook because it doesn't have any color, but I'll just roll with it. And that was just like our first conversation. That was
Oh.
that was pretty much it. And so we go about the class and everything. Everything's great. And the next class, so the day after, so there's 2 classes in a week. So Tuesday, Thursday class. Thursday, I come back in, I sit down, and this other guy walks in. This other guy, he had sat like first row, like on down the line. But this time he walks in and he sits right next to me. And I kind of look over and I'm like, well, that's not the guy that I sat next to last
Yeah.
time. Okay. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, you can, I guess, sit wherever you want in this class. And then Thomas walks in and he like makes eye contact with this guy. And he's like, kind of, you can tell he's kind of annoyed already. And
Yeah.
so he goes and sits next to the guy on the other side. And he tells him, you stole my seat, man. And it is like, I think that the guy he said something like, sorry, dude, kind of like that. And he was just like, sorry, dude. And then the class starts. Dr. Allard says, okay, this is the class that we've chosen lab partners. So the person you're sitting next to is now your lab partner for the rest of the semester.
Poor Thomas.
And so Thomas was like, damn it, like you could tell he was just kind of like, man, what? And so anyway, the funny thing was I had to be lab partners with this dude. The guy told me, because we had to do a major bug collection or an insect collection. And he told me, I don't really like bugs. And I was like, then why the hell are you in this class? Like, why are you taking this class if you don't like bugs? And you're not,
Yeah.
he didn't catch one single bug the entire time. And we
Wow.
were supposed to go on like trips to go and catch these bugs. Like we took class time out to go into the woods and catch bugs. He would not catch one single bug. And so I tried to like work with Thomas and his lab partner so that like I could group with them and see if I could get some bugs also. It was a whole thing. One of the other memories I have is that I brought in a dead Great American cockroach for my bugs because you have to, I know they're the grossest bugs ever, but you have to bring it in to get it signed off by Dr. Allard, and you have to correctly like identify it down to the scientific name. And so I did, and Thomas was standing next to me, and he kind of looks over and he goes, is that a Great American cockroach? And he just has this look of disgust. And I was like, yeah, isn't it cool? And he's like, that's the nastiest thing I've ever seen. It's so gross. He has like, it, almost like, he has an extreme fear of cockroaches, which, like, I have to kill the cockroaches in the home if if there's ever like a bug or anything. Like in our past apartments and stuff, we would have cockroaches sometimes like come in. You get the water bugs sometimes in apartments. It's a thing. But I was always the one that had to catch them and kill them, because as soon as they started moving, he would be out the door screaming. It's no fun. So that's
I'm with Thomas on that one.
Yeah, and we'll catch spiders and stuff and let them go outside, but the cockroach can never survive. They have to die, and they have to die a very brutal death in our household. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Like he will waste a whole can of Raid on one cockroach, and if it escapes and hides, we have to move out. Like it's a thing. Yeah, with that we became friends. Obviously, in that zoology class, we studied together. We started to like each other, obviously more than friends. We kind of got together in, I would say like we were really getting closer in May, toward the end of that semester. Um, and the thing was, he had 2 daughters already. They were at the time 4 years old, and then like 5 months old. Like it was a very, very, very young girls. And I was at that point like 20 years old. And it was like,
Wow, yeah.
I need to probably take a moment because I don't know if I want to get really serious with this guy yet and have two girls and be, I don't want to ever like be a girlfriend and then like we break up a year later and I'm already in their lives for a year and
Mm-hmm.
then I just leave. Like I know that that's not great for small children to have to go through. Like I know that,
Right.
there's uh I know that they could adapt and be okay, but I didn't feel like I could do that to them because I hadn't met them yet at that time, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But so I told him basically, I don't know, I need to take some time, I need to take a break to really kind of figure out what I want and what this looks like for me, and it kind of sent him into a little bit of a downward sort of like he was not okay with it, but he respected my wishes, and so we took like a whole summer of separation time. I actually got the chance to travel with a study abroad program. So I traveled a couple of times to South America, and I also um, just went and did different things all summer because I was just living um, just me, and so that was good. But I always sort of came back to thinking about him and thinking about how happy I was when I was with him and
Mm.
how much fun we had together and how much we had in common and how great he was. He was, and he still is, obviously, a
Right.
fantastic human being. He's got just so much character and so much love to give the world, and he's one of the kindest humans I've ever met, and to this day is it's always like we don't really talk about that summer because it's like the summer that we weren't together,
Yeah.
but August rolls back around. We have a shared friend group at that point from college classes, and
Mm-hmm.
we're hanging out. One night we went to eat pizza and stuff, and I was like, is he going to be okay with me being here because I'm not with him, but can we still kind of be friends or whatever? And that same night it was, you could tell he was mad ish for us just not being together, but it was kind of like at the same time because he was hurt, he was like, I
Yeah.
can't just be around her and not be with her kind of deal. But anyway, I was like, I do want this. I do want to be with you. I want to be with your girls. I want to meet them. I want to get to know them and be there, and I can do this. And I know that our relationship at that point was going to be worth it. I could just feel it. And
Mm.
so I was all in after that summer of like our separation, and he was all in, and he was like, "Are you serious? Are you sure?" kind of thing. And I'm like,
Oh.
"Yes, let's do this." I just needed some time to like figure out what. And
Yeah,
I had
it's a big
always wanted
decision.
to, yeah, I had always wanted to get married, and I always wanted to have kids. But I was in a point in my life where I was like, just gotten out of that like other relationship a year prior, where this guy did not believe in marriage. He did not
Oh,
want
okay.
children. He did not want to ever like make anything official. We were just living together. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. Like he was like, we can be together for life and not ever be married. And I'm like, but
Mm.
that doesn't feel like the same level. And I know that a lot of people have different views on marriage
Sure.
and all of that, but I for myself, it's like I always imagined myself getting married
Yeah.
one day. I don't want to do it a lot. Like I just want to do it one time and be done.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. It's a big commitment. I don't if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I still wanted to go through the experience of getting married. And anyway, so I'm 21, and Thomas and I officially get together, and we, by the time I'm 22, is really kind of like the time that we're officially together. We're living in a single bedroom apartment. We see the girls who, again, are like 4 and 5 to 6 months old ish, kind of getting older at that point. But see the girls in this one bedroom apartment for a few months. And my the 4 year old, she goes by Mo. And then my she's she's a baby. She looked just like a little bear to me, and so I started calling
Mm.
her Bear pretty much right off the bat. Mo came a few years later, but Mo has stuck. Like that nickname
Mm-hmm.
has stuck with her. That is definitely who she is. But yeah, so they would come over. We would have a week on and week off. So they would go a week at their mother's and then a week with us. Those were some hard times. Those were difficult times. One, because we were very poor. We were still in college. I was about to graduate that December, and we had pretty much were living, from paycheck to paycheck. I was
Yeah.
a hotel representative. So, like, after I had had that emergency department working experience, I had already had hotel experience. I worked at the Holiday Inn Express for a few years, and that was fun. But that was what we were living on and then Thomas was an HVAC technician. He worked for his dad, so that was our lives. We were working full time, going to school full time, and then also having two very small children, 1 week on, 1 week off in a single bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
it was pretty intense few months because I was new to all of it, new to being the mom and all of that. But I took to it very naturally, I think, and I think that Thomas would agree that it was a fun time. It was really difficult, but those are times I wouldn't trade because it made us really strong as a family unit together.
Yeah.
Because it was that December, I was graduating at that point, so I was about to go into teaching, and we had a week on, week off. We would literally put all of their toys in the patio closet. So I would pack up, and Thomas and I would pack up all of their toys in the closet, and then before they came to visit us for the week, we would pull all of their toys out, set them all up in the living room for them, have them all ready to go so that when they walked in, they felt like it
This was
it
their
never
place.
changed and it was their
Yeah.
place. Yeah. But it was so tiny and so overwhelming of us, like toys everywhere all the time. And then the sleeping situation was Bear would sleep in a pack and play as like temporary crib, sort of
Yeah.
mobile pack and play thing. And then Mo, we tried to do like she could sleep with us but that did not last very long. That child is an independent sleeper, and so she ended up starting to sleep on the couch. So
Mm.
she slept on the couch, and then Bear slept in the pack and play. And when Mo started school when she turned 5, or she was already in pre-K. We would have to get up early. Everybody would be up, get ready for school or for pre-K, and yeah, it was some tough times. But yeah, it ended up that we were going about to go through a custody agreement with him because the week on week off was not working. There
Mm-hmm.
were delays in Bear's like development as far as at that point she should have been weaning off of the bottle and eating like baby food and more solid foods, and so we would start feeding her that. She would start figuring out, kind of how to feed herself. But when she would go and visit their mother for the week, she would come back and be completely reliant on the bottle. And that
Okay. So
was
it kept
very frustrating.
regressing.
She
Yeah.
would regress quite a bit. She would also have sleeping difficulties. Romina was always sick when she came back with something or other. She would have like sinus infections, or she was going through a lot of different sort of like colds and
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I was like, why is she always sick? It was just very regressive as far as when they would come back. So the whole week was okay, we will spend Sunday, Monday, Tuesday resetting the routine.
Right.
And then we would be fine. and then they would go right back. And then it was just very cyclical as far as how they would return. Diaper rashes, just all constantly, all sorts of things. Too small diapers were coming back. We would have to, we ended up having to purchase diapers, food, formula, all of those things to send with her, and like ask, please send any leftover stuff back, because it was a lot, and
Yeah.
those things are
Yeah.
expensive.
They
So
are.
anyway, yeah. So in December of that year, and I guess I can say what, like, it's 2015 at this point. So we got together, moved in together, week on, week off with the kids. All of that happened August of 2015. Invertebrate zoology happened that
Yeah.
spring semester, and then I took the summer, and then we got together in August, and then by December of that year, I graduated, was getting my teaching certification, and was ready to start teaching that next year. So we were going to go through custody sort of like agreement. We had to go to court for that because the week on, week off was not working.
Yeah.
And so we sat Mo down, and at this point, she's about to be 5, and asked her who she wanted to live with. If she were given a choice, it's not going to hurt our feelings at all. It's something that, it's truly up to her what she wants to do. And she said without hesitation, without like any beat at all, that she wanted to live with us and that she would just go visit her mommy. That was like one of the most emotional like memories that I have, because it was the most truthful like thing that a child could ever say.
Yeah.
In that we knew, okay, this is the right thing to do. It's not just that we're doing it because we feel that it's the right
Right.
thing. I know that it's the right thing because of how she responded and how she behaves when she's with us versus how she's with her, and how she comes back and her mental state when she comes back, and all of those things were taken into consideration. So we got full custody of the girls that next year in the spring. It did not take super long, and so she had the like custody of the weekends, every other weekend, and then
Okay.
the every other like holiday or Christmas or whatever. So from that, we at the end of that, we had the opportunity to move into a 2-bedroom house in Texarkana. So we're moving on up in the world a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm substituting long terms because it's hard to get a teaching
Yep.
thing whenever you're mid year. So I'm long term substituting at a school there, and we go in and we totally clean this place up, paint it. They are going to share a room. We paint the room pink with blue polka dots and black chalk so that they can draw on the walls. Like, we
Nice.
made this whole thing for them, and we really really enjoyed our time there. And as time goes on, I'm teaching. Thomas actually ends up teaching as well after he graduates. So he's teaching. He started to teach high school chemistry and environmental science, and I am moving forward to get my master's degree, and that enabled me to be able to teach college level as well as like the dual credit biology and AP biology. So that's kind of the trajectory that we took for 5 to 6 years after that. And yeah, so that was kind of our time in Texarkana. So in Texarkana, we have a couple of teacher friends, and a teacher couple friend, and we're hanging out with them and kind of talking about, and this was back in 2020, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, talking about just like how I always had wanted to do like kickboxing or mixed martial arts. And I actually did do kickboxing when I was 18, 19, but I couldn't afford to continue doing it.
Hmm.
And Thomas, he will like proclaim he was not ever an athletic kid. He never did anything, like physically challenging like that. He was a theater kid, which
Mm.
that's a very active thing in my opinion. But that's the extent of like his extracurricular uh, like activities that he was really involved in. But so anyway, the he's like, well, we can go to a trial class, and so he invites Thomas to this trial class, like as
For
a
jujitsu.
guy hangout to a jujitsu trial class there in Texarkana. Thomas gets back from this trial class. He's so nervous. And we both, have a lot of like social anxiety and stuff, but he has it to where it's like almost, and at that point in time, he's done a lot of work on it since then.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was almost like a debilitating sort of anxiety for like new social situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a huge deal for him to actually go and participate in a trial jujitsu class with strangers and just one friend. So anyway, he comes back and he's like, I like this and I want to do this. And I was like, okay, well, you're not going to do it without me. I'm also going to do it. And I'm also going to do a trial class
Yeah.
because I really like that kind of thing. I like watching UFC and all of that. I was like, I like mixed martial arts and I never got to do the jujitsu part of it. So I want to try also. I go in for this trial class and I'm in a tank top and shorts, and the tank top has like a zipper on it. And I walk in and I'm like, I'm not wearing the right things here. But so I do the trial class, and it's would be considered obviously no gi because they didn't give me a gi to wear. So I started to move around in a way that I never like moved before, and up to this point I was doing HIIT classes. I'd done Zumba. I had done hot yoga. I had done gym, just regular, strength and conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, I had done basketball, track, cross country. Like
Wow.
I was not like not able to move. I was in shape to a point because, like I said, I had just done like a whole series of HIIT classes, and I had gotten to the point mentally that I was like, I just don't feel like I'm doing anything. And I had like a little bit of a breakdown before we tried this of like, I hate this. I hate the gym. I hate going to these classes. I don't feel like I'm progressing or doing much. Yeah, I feel great after the workout, but like, what's the point sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing? And once I got there to that first jiu-jitsu class, I had moved my body in such a way that I was like, I don't know. I would not know how to protect myself if somebody were on top of me because I was working with my friend named Christina, and it was like I couldn't move under her, and I couldn't get out because we were doing like a situational thing, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. I
Yeah.
want to be able to get out of someone holding me down. None of my HIIT classes had prepared me for getting out of hard situations like that. So I was like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to sign up, and it's going to do things, I think, for us that it's going to help Thomas with his social anxiety. It's going to obviously help us get more fit. Um, but I had no idea how much of a positive impact jujitsu would become
Mm-hmm.
for not just me, but my whole family and like just our outlook on life in general.
Yeah.
That was the first day. Already the community that we experienced was wonderful. Everybody is so friendly and so welcoming, and they everybody just wanted to help and wanted you to stay and wanted you to get better. So we started doing all these classes, doing like, and this gym was like 4 days a week, and so we would do 3 days, I think, a week of jujitsu. In that time, our kids were not doing jujitsu, so Mo was probably 8 at this point. Bear's 4. Yeah. Um, and they did not start jujitsu, so they would sit up there. And so this is the time period where some moms ask me of like, how did you manage kids as well as train and try to focus on the training? And I was like, it was actually very difficult when they were smaller because they would want to get up and run around and jump and play,
Right.
and they were so little. And that was the time where they didn't have tablets to let them like or switch or
Yeah.
things to help them or whatever. And um, so we had to play with toys. There was a TV in the corner, turned it on cartoons, and like would threaten them within the inch of their life if they made sound. It was like that every single time. And so yeah, we would have to take breaks and stuff and remind them, especially when there were other kids around, they just wanted to play. But they got better as
Of
they got
course, as they get
older.
older.
Yeah, and all of the adults there are parents. They get it. They're patient, and that was the one thing that I really appreciated was, no matter what, I feel like if you're not at a gym that doesn't understand that you're also a parent that works and has to bring their children, no matter what age they are, to sit in the jujitsu class, like in, off to the side with things around them.
Hmm.
Like I've been at gyms where like a pack and play was brought in where the baby was sitting in the pack and play or a wagon
Wow.
or something or a blanket was laid out. Those gyms, like that those gyms are family oriented and they
Yeah.
are completely fine with working parents. And I really do respect and appreciate all gyms that do take that into account for the kids that need to come and sit in. So yeah.
How long, so since your very first class, how long have you been practicing jujitsu?
Yeah, so I would say we started then in February of 2020. You know what year that is. So it's
Wow.
we've
Yeah.
been training ever since. So we like went all in February of 2020. We were both teaching high school. We were again full-time parents. We were going to train 2 to 3 days a week. We were trying to make it work as best we could, learning. We had gis at this point. We had
Hmm.
rash guards at this point. No more tank tops for me. And we were like loving it, loving, everybody there and learning and all of that. But then COVID hits in March, and in March, everything shuts down, including a contact sport like jujitsu,
Oh
totally
yeah.
shuts down. So we were like, okay, we're going to keep this up. We are not going to stop doing this. So we went in, we bought mats at home so that we could train at home. The mats were not fantastic, but we tried.
Yeah.
We also tried to do like different challenges. We didn't have a clue what we were doing, by the
Hmm.
way. Like we were a month into jujitsu,
Right. Yeah.
no clue what we
Yeah.
were
No.
doing with anything. It was not pretty at all. If we had video of ourselves trying to train or roll with each other at a month into jujitsu, no, it would not look pretty. But
Yeah.
yeah, that time period though was great for us. I know that uh, there was a lot of unfortunate circumstances that took place during those
Right.
few months of shutdown for a lot of people, but it was a time of really of growth for us in that I was able to take time away from the teaching aspect and only do what was necessary for the students who were learning online. So I would post, and I would like we would both like record lessons, and we would make sure that those who were still online and able to learn were getting what they needed. So yeah, with that, during COVID, we had a lot of growth. And when we returned to teaching, we both said this is going to be our last year
Hmm.
because we don't have to continue this path. So I fully invested in that year and my students taught, to the best of my ability, and so did Thomas. But we, at the same time, were leaving at the final bell. We left and we went to jujitsu. Like, we
Right.
took a
Okay.
break, took a nap, went to jujitsu, like every single day. And that helped us so much because it helped me cut out what was not necessary. We totally changed our mindset over that time period. And I also started working on my doctorate
Mm-hmm.
that the year before too. So I was also doing homework at the same time, writing a lot. And so we knew that that was going to be our last year teaching. So we gave it, all we had. Um, while doing jujitsu. At that point, our kids said, "I might like to try jujitsu," because they were always like, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we'll let you decide when you're ready. If you want to try it, you can." And by spring of that next year, where we were almost done with our final year of teaching, we had transferred to another gym, which we're still very close to today, and still connected to today. We had the kids try it. They loved it. And we were like, well, okay, great. We're only going to be here for like another month because we're moving to McKinney.
Yeah.
Yay. Because we had put out feelers. Thomas got a fantastic job as a consulting arborist here at a local arborist company or a tree company. And I just kind of threw my hat in the ring of anything. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
can do anything. By the way, a lot of imposter syndrome and feelings of inadequacy when you're trying to find a different job when you're a teacher. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge mental or psychological effect that takes place as teachers where you feel like you can't do anything else other than
Right.
teach
Right.
for, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And a lot of teachers, fantastic, wonderful heroes of human beings, retire out of teaching, and they loved every moment of it, good and bad. But there are a lot of people who start out teaching, realize it's not for them, but feel like they can't do anything else and can't find anything else. So I was in that state of mind of like, I'm not going to get hired anywhere because I'm a teacher and I'm only going to ever be able to teach. Even
Right.
though I'm, can do college level at this point, I'm also getting my PhD at this point. I still was like, I'm probably just going to have to get a teaching job here in this area. So I purposefully was like, I'm not going to apply to any teaching jobs. I will apply to college level like jobs and see what could come of that. The hiring pool is so high here that it was like never call me back kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just started to branch out, threw my hat in the ring, cast my net, whatever you want to call it, and just started applying everywhere. I applied to hundreds of places.
Wow.
I eventually was like, at this point, I will go and be a barista somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. And so I just started to look for. I just want to be happy. What's going to bring me happiness to where I can go to work, have a happy day, regardless of what the job is, and then get home and not be exhausted and not wanting to interact with my children, not really wanting to go to jujitsu,
Right.
because I've been teaching all day. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired. And so, what's going to make me happy? There is this company that I looked up happiest places to work in McKinney. And
That's
so
good
there's a
search
few,
terms.
that's a
Yeah.
good search term. So I was like, okay, let's see what's one of the happiest places that have been talked about. So I looked up a few different ones, and one of them popped up actually. I don't know how, because I don't know if they ever like participated in this like happiest places to work or whatever, but it was like a startup space,
Mm-hmm.
And some of the startup spaces here are a couple of these, right, in this area. And one of them was my company that I work for now. And they just so happened to be hiring for a support analyst, like just support, like ticketing and helping resolve tickets for their platform. And I was like, I can do that. It didn't require any like college experience or anything. I was like,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
let me just do that. I don't care. I'll do whatever. Um, and I applied and I got an interview like that next week. Drove up to McKinney for a second interview a couple of weeks later, and we were already moving at a certain date for Thomas's new job.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they really seemed to like me. I was very nervous because I was like, I don't have, because it's a healthcare technology platform. I was like, I don't have the like experience of healthcare tech, but I can learn anything, and I still believe that today. Like I can
Yeah.
learn anything and I can do anything if I am given a chance. And they took that chance on me, and I have been there ever since. We've seen so much growth with our company, from startup sort of space to we've been expanding quite a bit. I really enjoy everyone that I work with. I have become friends, like really close to all of those that I work with and work for. That it's truly is for me one of the happiest jobs in this area.
How
So
about that?
yeah. So yeah, it's digital healthcare technology, and I worked up to like implementing projects. I also became the manager of support. So I came from, or went from being the first support person there, handling tickets, and then to being over a team of support people, and then just kind of keep moving up to now I've got my PhD. So I like stats and I like data and I like making the world a better place, or helping make the world a better place. Still have the drive of wanting to help people. So that's one of the things that attracted me to this job or this company. And so now I'm going to be, I've recently gotten a promotion actually to manager of
Nice.
client impact. And so I'll be,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I'll be helping our data team. I'll be helping us with solutions and things like that to help our platform grow and be the best that it can be for our clients. And I'm really proud of that. So yeah, that's kind of brings us
Okay.
up to speed here as far as like career wise and all of that. Um,
So, just real quick, you went from a one bedroom apartment to a two-bedroom apartment to a.
yeah. So we went from a one bedroom apartment, like efficiency apartment, to a two bedroom tiny little house, and with like probably it, that place probably doesn't need to be around anymore, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It was like the laundry was outside in the garage, and there were like at one point there was a little family of possums living
Oh
behind
my.
our dryer where it was warm. Like the mother like walked all of her baby possums to be behind our dryer, and she left, I guess, to go hunting, and we found all these baby possums, and we were like, what in the world is this? So we inhabited a lot of creatures
Wow.
in that house. So lots of fun there. We would have like raccoons, we would have rats, squirrels, all sorts of things. I'm
I'm
like,
good with squirrels, not so
yeah,
much rats and
it
possums.
just,
Like, they
yeah,
can go
it
live somewhere else. Wow.
they can, but I'm so glad that we were stewards of a home place for them during the winter time. No, it
Yeah.
was But we tried to, we made it the best we could. My father-in-law was the landlord, and he tried, everything he could do to make it work for us and to make it
Okay.
the best we could. So it actually, we left that place so much better than we found it, which that's always our goal everywhere we live. And
Eh,
then we got the opportunity to move into
Right.
a 3-bedroom house, all renting at this point still. So we rented a 3-bedroom house, which that was one of our favorite homes because that landlord, he let us do anything to the landscaping. And so we were, during COVID especially, all into replanting, making everything look super beautiful. And when we moved, he was like, wow, this place looks awesome. And that was one of our favorite houses because it had built-ins and, bookshelves and all of that stuff. So it was really nice. But anyway, then we move here, and we're in a 4-bedroom home. But we realize, the bigger you go, I'm like, oh, we're actually really not using that extra bedroom very much. And it was in Melissa, so it was a little further out than we wanted to be. I was working in McKinney, and Thomas he works all over Dallas,
Hmm.
proper like Highland Park area. So it was pretty much a pretty big drive for him every morning. And so, yeah, we had the opportunity to finally buy our first home, and we found this house in Allen, and we love it. It was, and it still is a fixer-upper, but better than what we've had in the past or before. It's just we're trying to continually make the space that we live in better for us, and little by little, it takes time.
Right. It does take time, but what I'm hearing is like there's always this upward motion. There's always this desire to do better, be better, have a better
Hmm.
life, not just for yourself, but your girls and your education, like teaching is an incredible job and I get it. Like I have a lot of respect for it, but it is very demanding and it makes it hard to balance other things at times. And so just finding something that is still fulfilling and rewarding but improves your quality of life at the same time. So what I'm seeing is like this theme of just like you and Thomas constantly leveling up, which I think is amazing. Well, that was just the beginning of Shelby's story, and I love how she spoke with so much honesty about marriage, about relationships, about parenthood, and finances, and all the ways that life forces us to grow. If anything she said today resonated with you, stay tuned for part two, where we will dive deeper into how jujitsu has shaped her mindset, how she balances discipline with gentleness, and what female empowerment really looks like, and especially a little bit more about jujitsu as two females that have participated in it. So, thanks for being here. Share this episode with a friend who maybe could feel inspired from it. And as always, keep showing up for yourself. And remember, you have both the beauty and the beast inside of you. And I will see you next time.